Hey everybody, welcome to the Film Threat Livecast. It's Friday. We saw a bunch of movies. Dante is with me. We got a couple updates. Hey, but stick around. We're going to talk about boobs at the end of the stream. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. But great show today. Dante is joining us. We're going to talk about The Fall Guy, The Idea of You, Jeanne du Barry, and the movie Tarot. And then we got a bunch of news items. And by the way, happy May the 4th be with you. I don't know how to intro that, but let's get the show started. Hey Dante, how you doing?
Alan, what's going on, man?
You look
happy to be here, bright and early on a Friday morning.
Well, just to give everyone an update on Frank, he's doing much better. I spoke to him yesterday. We had a meeting. He's doing very well. He will be back with us soon, just not today. There's kind of a certain threshold we want to hit with his recovery that will allow him to come back, and he's almost there. And I think it will be soon. We're almost actually at the 1 month anniversary of Chris's stroke. So
God, it's been that long, right?
It's been that long. Yeah, we were in Vegas almost a month ago.
Jesus, man.
Oh, that was a crazy trip. It was fun until it wasn't fun. And then,
you know what? Honestly, I've been to Vegas many times because I like to gamble, and that was the craziest Vegas trip I've had in a long time.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but not for the right reasons.
Yeah, it was like a lot of fun. Meeting everyone at the meetups, at the FNT meetup. It's just kind of like I said, we do this in a vacuum, and we don't realize that there's a lot of you out there watching us, and greatly appreciated. And then the thing happened. A lot of bad things happened in Vegas, and here we go. So let's just get to our first one. Lord Thoth, hit that like, share, subscribe, hit that notification, sign up as a member, join us on Rumble and Discord. One thing I haven't been doing is where we are. I'm looking for yes. Hey, visit the Film Thread. Oh gosh, this is where Chris grabs his hair, rips it out, and says, "Why didn't you practice this?" Because I thought we had a banner for oh yeah, here we go. Support us and buy something at shop.filmthread.com. I've got my my Buck Rogers Film Thread shirt. We've got a whole bunch of others. Like I said, for a lot of us content creators out there, the YouTube algorithm has been brutal, and any support you can give us, that would be amazing. And then one big thing is, hey, happy Star Wars Day. Happy May the 4th. It's not Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you, Dante.
Is anybody celebrating that this year, or are we just done?
Well, I am. Phantom Menace comes out into theaters once again. It's out in theaters today. It's 25 years. Phantom Menace came out 25 years ago.
God,
and the reason I know is because I got married not too long after the Phantom Menace came out. We actually eloped the weekend of the Phantom Menace, and then got married on Juneteenth. So, so Black Lives Matter.
Nice.
All right, so let's look at this video from Star Wars. Because it'll touch your hearts. It'll make you feel good.
Remove your helmet. We must walk the way together.
It all started with the fans. If I could sum up Star Wars fans in one word:
energy, love, trust,
fearless, loyalty.
I'm counting on you. We stay together.
We're a family.
Come on, let's go!
Star Wars, it's a family that you'll carry on with you for a very long time to come, I think, and I hope.
This is where the fun begins.
Come on, baby, do the magic hand thing.
Star Wars has been something I did with my father when I was a kid.
and then it just became like this tradition.
It's been a part of my life forever.
This fandom brings in friends that I've never had before.
I'm looking for someone. Looking? Found someone you have, I would say.
One way out! One way out!
Long live the Empire.
We're doing Star Wars, baby!
It's unreal.
The amount of effort you put into being fans, it's part of what makes Star Wars so great.
For all the Star Wars fans,
May the Fourth be with you.
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 I mean,
God, man, it almost makes me miss liking Star Wars.
I feel so sad.
I miss liking Star Wars, man, and I love how they tried to blend the Kathleen Kennedy era, in with the George Lucas era, right? To make it seem like it's all just synonymous and it just one long thread, right? There were no breaks. There was no good era, bad era. Just all good Star Wars, right?
Yeah, there's like 9 movies of the. I'm sorry, there's 6 movies of the Lucas era, and you barely saw any of it in there. You saw little bits of it. By the way, I've got my Reva action figure here, just to say, the most iconic character of Disney Star Wars, the one we all talk about. Yeah. Oh my god.
You know how much that's going to be worth though? Like 20 years from now.
I don't know.
Nothing.
I mean, I got it.
Nothing.
I mean, I paid $9 for it on clearance at Target, and
God, that's bad.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, we're going to talk about Star Wars on Versus. Is Star Wars dead?
I'm in on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you're on the list. Make sure on the list, and then we have. So the big thing is that to celebrate May the 4th, the day that worked out as a joke. I don't know if you remember, but I remember when May the 4th was just starting to become a thing, and that you could tell your friends, and they go, "What the hell are you talking about? Star Wars Day?" And it's like, no, May the 4th be with you. And now we have a video that just kind of rams that into the ground. It's I don't know about you, but it definitely wasn't as cool as it was when I first heard about the term today.
Well, that's because back when we started using it, we still love Star Wars.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the difference, man. Now the curtain has been, opened and the veil has been lifted and we see it for what it is. And I don't know, man, maybe we're jaded. Like maybe there's people out there who still love the current Star Wars just as much as they love the old Star Wars. I don't know. I haven't met those people, but they're probably out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that there's this idea that Gen Z and millennials have a specific story they like, and for some reason our stories are so much cooler than that. And maybe it's because we're old, maybe it's because we are too nostalgic, but I just don't see anything coming out of this generation, stories that really hit, that really have some kind of impact and make you feel the same way you did about movies today that you did a long time ago.
That's because the current stuff feels like an AI wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Using like DEI like checkpoints.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's not. That's why it sucks. That's why we don't love it the way we loved it before. Because before it was written by people who are passionate about the story, about the characters. Now, Star Wars is written by committee.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Let's see. We're gonna add this. We have, as you know, Phantom Menace is coming out into theaters, and we have a commercial for it. So let's pull this on stage. Oops, sorry.
Only the strength of Pizza Hut, KFC, and Taco Bell's 17,000 will tie-in with the release of the most anticipated movie ever, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. In this awesome promotion, KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut will each recreate one of the 3 planets in the Star Wars universe. Pizza Hut will be transformed into the planet Coruscant, home of the Imperial Senate.
What?
Thanks, Pizza Hut.
Cosmic promotion.
How did I
Check
miss
out
this?
these items to make the inside of your red roof and RBD shine.
This is wild, man.
Oh.
What bonus they want purchase over these placemats. Some restaurants will receive buffet danglers to be placed over the buffet using the ceiling hooks and clamps.
This is
provided.
wild.
Buffet danglers.
These
Look at
cool
that.
Star Wars boxes are only to be used for deliveries and carryouts. Don't use them to box up to-go food for dine-in guests. Our Star Wars cup toppers are guaranteed to be a hit. 4 key characters will be sold only at
It's like
Pizza
Yoda's
Hut
been
dine-in
stabbed in the
restaurants.
back with a lightsaber.
Place this Darth Maul
Well-
silhouette on the asset door to complete the Coruscant environment. Feel the force of Pizza Hut as we join KFC and Taco Bell for the biggest promotion in the galaxy.
Oh, I wonder what the KFC or KFC and Taco Bell.
I'm genuinely shocked that those cup tops weren't like Ahsoka, her goofy friend that kept screwing up the whole time.
What's her name? Sabine.
I'm just surprised like it wasn't all current Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know why they're not selling Ezra Jesus figures in Christian
Right.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed in that is the fact that Pizza Hut had tables.
Yeah,
You could go to a Pizza Hut and actually eat pizza. I mean, I have a couple Pizza Huts near me, and none of them have tables. It's all 100% delivery. And
you know what though? But that trailer or whatever it was, it looked like it was like a commercial from the 80s, man. It looked like an old Pizza Hut. It didn't look like current day Pizza Hut.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Do I still sound muffled, by the way? Or
Oh no, you sound fine to me.
okay. Sorry.
Which, by the way, last week my mic was off, or it was not where it should have been. I wish you would have told me, man, because I think I sounded pretty bad on the last.
Well, I think
last
2 weeks
show we
ago
did.
you were a bit hot, but I think last week you were fine. I don't remember anything last week. Hey, let's go to your comments. Happy Star Wars Day. I mean, look, Star Wars came out on Memorial Day weekend. That's a month from now. All of the first 6 movies came out on Memorial Day weekend. I remember Phantom Menace was one of the last movies I remember, going to the midnight showing of it. And also the fact that it was hard to get tickets to see Phantom Menace at midnight. And somehow I lucked out. I was in the front row watching Phantom Menace.
And it was during those days when like you couldn't reserve a seat, man. So you just had to be in line. Otherwise you were screwed.
Yeah. All right. Hey, from Dane Wayne, new member, welcome aboard. Thank you. John Manalang, who's been a member for 21 months.
Wow.
My membership can now buy you a drink, Alan. Big ups on holding the fort down while Frank's in recovery. Yeah, if you've I just spent $25 at Chick-fil-A the other day. For myself. All right. From Krizik, come for the chat, stay for the boobs. That's right. We got boobs coming in later on. The nerd far away. Hail, Alan. Please tell Chris he's in my prayers. Chris is actually watching us right now. So what is it? F's in the chat for Chris. How does that work? I don't know. I probably did something really horrible right now. And,
yeah.
From Scott Christy Jones, a member for 1 month. Welcome. Hey, from across the pond. New Clarkson Farm is thumbs up. Is fire. I need to see that. Suns and Shadows. Here we go. There's beating a dead horse, and then there's Star Wars. I know. I can tell you how I feel about. It's like I miss having fun talking about Star Wars.
It was something that we used to enjoy.
Mm-hmm. MK Solid 82. They put all the Disney Star Wars in these clips. LOL. Yeah, that's right. You saw a glimpse of Carrie Fisher in there. You had Mark Hamill's talking head, and no Harrison Ford. From Ghost Ocelot, gift one Film Thread membership. Thank you for that, and thank you to whoever got that one. Let's see. Goober says Star Wars Visibility Week, and then Suns and Shadows. I remember when Pizza Hut was good.
Were they?
I actually don't remember when Pizza Hut was good.
I don't either, actually.
To me, it's a greasy, oily pizza.
It was like something there in a pinch, right? You needed pizza. Yeah. They were local. They delivered.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's clear the deck here. And here we go. And let's pivot.
The Alliance will die. Good. I can feel your anger.
Yeah, May 4th. You guys have the best deep fakers, man. I got to tell you.
I know. I was kind of hoping my face was on Palpatine's body there.
Give me a touch with your deep fake guy.
I know. Here, let me. We got one news item before we get into our reviews, but I'm trying to get this thing working here. Be with me momentarily. There we go. Hey, Dante, you're black.
Yeah, last time I checked, man. I looked in the mirror this morning and still here.
All right, well, this news item just came out. This is from, where did I get it? Hollywood Reporter. Jordan Peele making a Black Cowboy series that pledges to rewrite Wild West history. The Peacock documentary series will dismantle the whitewashed mythology of the cowboy. Academy Award filmmaker Jordan Peele is making a documentary series that will promise to overturn the public perception of the Old West. The Get Out writer-director will executive produce the project for Peacock, which dismantles the whitewashed mythology of the cowboy and expands the themes explored in his 2022 thriller Nope, which is also streamed on Peacock. Let's see, there's the showrunners. The official description, the untitled Black Cowboy docuseries will rewrite the foundational piece of American history, unmasking the forces that erase the identity of the Black cowboy from frontier history and present. Stories of real cowboys will take viewers on a thrilling odyssey that will connect the heart of the resurgence of Black cowboy culture that we see today in music, art, fashion, and film in a 3-part series to premiere on Peacock. I will let me get the ad out of the way. I will say that I mean this could on the outset sound kind of bad, but I kind of am interested in this.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, man. Look, Jordan Peele, for me, he's had more hits than this. I think that, you know, the guy is kind of a genius. The subject matter he's tackling isn't that new. You know what I mean? We all know that there were Black cowboys back in the day. There were Indian cowboys back in the day. You know, it wasn't regulated to just white guys. You know what I mean? But I'm always skeptical when I see an article like this, because if we learn nothing from the Alyssa Mercante situation, journalists will kind of go rogue and go on their own and make up stuff. So, yeah. Did he say all that, or did the reporter make that?
Yeah. I mean,
you get what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, because the term whitewash what is it? Dismantle the whitewash mythology of the cowboy. Well, actually, that was a quote from Jordan Peele himself. But I do get your point. I think you know, the article feels like it is written from a Black oppression standpoint versus just trying to tell the history of Black cowboys.
Yeah, and I've grown really skeptical now when I read an interview or read an article about anybody now, or any subject matter now, just because I know that at this point, journalists have kind of become the enemy, man. Like, and they are kind of just going off on their own. They're not using facts. They're just, you know, basically promoting their own agendas. Right now, going back to the subject matter though of the Black Cowboy show. Look, I don't know if it's going to do well or not. I think just the fact that you're doing a genre on cowboys in 2024 is pretty risky. I mean, like most people, I mean, outside of Yellowstone and the people who watch that, I mean, most people really aren't like begging for a Western in 2024. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Well, I think
don't know how well it's going to do. I'm curious about it, and I'm probably going to watch at least the first episode to see what he does with it. But no, look, man, I trust Jordan Peele. I think he maybe did one movie that I was iffy on, which was Us. But I've liked all his other stuff. So we'll see.
Yes. Let me see. I'm actually starring these two. Yeah, you know, the sorry, I'm just throwing here, but the what I wanted to get to was you know, we had last year at award this, we for best picture we had the Bass Reeves story. Someone told a story of Bass Reeves, and then I believe Paramount did a whole series on Bass Reeves, who was basically a black I want to say he was a Confederate hunter or something like that. He worked for the Union. Really good story, and I think there is a lot of truth to it, because quite frankly, I know very little about the Black Cowboy, or even the role of Black Americans during the Western times. I barely even knew the Asian one. I think if you watch Warrior season 1, there's I believe a 2-episode arc where they're it's kind of their cowboy story, and so you know, it's like I am interested in this. I'm interested just to find the history of it. I think there's kind of, as we mentioned, kind of that backhanded slap saying, you know, that you know, white people have taken, you know, have basically ruled Westerns, and now it's time for us to take it back. I think that's not the story I want to hear from this series.
No, not at all. Not at all. And look, we're talking about cowboys, right? We're talking about Westerns, right? There's probably going to be some level of, you know, race topics, right? I mean, we're talking like, you know, 1800s. Okay, I'm sorry, you know, America was a very racist country back then, you know, so they are going to hit on that, I'm sure. It's Jordan Peele. Come on, how could he not?
Yeah.
Will he dwell on it though? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is a documentary series, so a 3-part documentary series, probably about an hour each, so 3 hours. You know, the issue to me now will be balanced. Is it balanced? Is it just presenting the facts, or does it have, or are the facts presented to support an agenda? And I think that's where the skepticism comes in. I'm hoping it doesn't. I hope it is the facts. I don't mind a little bit of agenda. I know that's going to make people upset, but you kind of expect it. But believe me, I've seen documentaries, especially there was an Asian American documentary about Hollywood. And rather than actually tell the story of Asians in Hollywood, it was just there to support the agenda. How white people oppressed Asians, how Asians, you know, suffered, how we were exploited. And I'm like, this is not a fun, uplifting documentary about my culture in any manner.
Right. And look, I'll go a step further, man, and say I can even put up with agenda if it's done well.
Mm-hmm.
If it's done well, if there's a story there, if it's written well. Look, man, agenda in media isn't something new. It's not something regulated to 2020. You know what I mean? There have always been messages in visual media, right? But it's the way you do it, right? If Jordan Peele could tell a compelling story, and you know, if he has an agenda, fine. But if it's an agenda where we don't really see it blatantly anyway, and it's just kind of woven into the story, I'm okay with that, because as long as the story is good, right? And we always say that, right? As critics, we always say it's about the story. So if the story is good, then I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, it's the difference between passion and the agenda. I've certainly talked to people I don't agree with who are passionate about a subject, and we have a really good conversation about that, because you know, they're there to present their side, and I'm there to challenge it, and they're very well versed in it. But a lot of time these days now, you challenge someone on their feelings, and they'll just, you know, if they don't have an answer for you, they'll just call you a racist, a homophobe, or a you know, someone who doesn't care about the environment, wants to see the earth burn. All right, let's go to your comments. Suns and Shadows. So Peele is doing a Wild Wild West sequel to Will Smith. Oh, with Will Smith. Sorry, with Will Smith. Andrew S. Blazing Embers. From Krizik. Ing, observant as ever. Hey, Dante, you're black. Yeah, you know. From the nerd far away. Good point, Dante. Who's really saying that? Yeah. Going back to the article itself, from Chadman, and Cleopatra was black, apparently. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's.
I don't know
really
if she was black, but she definitely wasn't white. She wasn't Elizabeth Taylor. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Not in that heat.
Yeah, but I think that's the fear, is that you know, from the Cleopatra, you know, I don't think Egyptians necessarily call themselves black. If anything, they call themselves Egyptians. And,
by the way, you want to talk about
you know,
race swapping? You want to talk
Mhm.
about race swapping? I mean, you know, people get on race swapping today, man. Dude, go back to the '60s and look at the race swapping they did there. Mickey Rooney, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I love Mickey Rooney. Yeah. I remember because I saw Breakfast at Tiffany's as an adult, and when that scene came out, I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Dude, it was shameless back then, man.
I know. Just
they had white folks playing Native Americans.
Oh yeah, and they still claim to be Native Americans. And Mike MC Wong, Mario Van Peebles made quite a few black cowboy movies.
That is true. That is very true, and they weren't bad. They were not bad.
Yep.
Posse is the name of it.
Oh, Posse, yes. Hey, it's me in HD. Let me guess, the story will be a black cowboy who did everything better than white men. Yeah, it's a documentary series, but I get the joke. Itachi Ucha? Broke Black Mountain. I see, LOL. There we go. From Joseph, I don't see myself casting a white dude as the lead in my movie, Peele said in 2020. You know, I'm kind of okay with him saying that. He's a black filmmaker, you know.
Yeah, ask Rudy Ray Moore how many white folks he cast in his movies back in the day.
Yeah. You know, look, if you're a white filmmaker and you want to cast a white person as your lead, fine, do it. You know, cast whoever you want.
Do it. They've already done it. Right?
Have they really? Are white people leading?
Okay, let me ask you this. How many black leads has Scorsese put in his movies?
Yeah. I mean, that's your point exactly. My point exactly. It's you're a filmmaker. Tell your story. Cast it however you want.
Tell your story. Cast it however you want. It's your movie.
Absolutely. Okay. Big Blue Dog. Shane Black is countering the Black Cowboy with a White Shaft movie. Is he? Ironic for Shane Black.
Yeah.
All right, MK Solid 82. Django Unchained was entertaining. I enjoyed it. The gory gunfights were really cool. I mean, talk about a guy, Quentin Tarantino, who casted black actors and doesn't get the credit for it. You know,
yeah. No. He actually does get the credit for that.
Does he?
He put Samuel Jackson on the map, man.
Oh, absolutely. I know that, but in the black community, does he get the credit for what he's done? I mean, black.
You'd be surprised. A lot of the black community does dig his movies a lot. You have the woke youngsters who are like, "Oh, he said the N-word in his movies." Guys, you know, my age, black guys my age, love his movies.
Yeah, well, I remember Spike Lee made a comment about questioning where Quentin Tarantino got his N pass.
Because he made good characters and good stories.
Let's see. Let's move. Exactly. Born to LOL says Mel Brooks did this already. Yeah. Again, we're it's a documentary, but I get the point. Triple Threat 305. Bass Reeves was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I like David Yo very much. He's a very good actor. I actually liked his Martin Luther King portrayal. Bill S. Preston, Esquire. There was an anti-racist black cowboy movie within the past few years. It was last year, and it was so bad I don't even remember the name of it, and I saw it.
Is that the one with Regina King?
No, this was Michael Jai White. Is that his name?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Very independent. Not a big fan of the movie. Solomon Thornton. Cleopatra was Macedonian Greek descent. Yeah, I mean, stop screwing around with history. That's all I'm saying. Red Pill Rants: The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and the Black Dude. Okay. And then finally from CD Stein 69. Historically, Cleopatra was close to Gal Gadot than even the light-skinned black person. I would not doubt that. All right. Excuse me. All right, let's pivot here. Let's get into a movie. Let's see. Here we go.
Yeah, you got to keep up. You got to keep up.
Yeah, got to keep up. Keep it up. Rock it hard. Make it work. And make it so. All right, let's get into our movies. I'm going to start with if I can get. Here we go. We're going to make this a quick one because it's really not worth talking a whole lot about. But now on Amazon Prime, we have The Idea of You. Is that showing up at all? Where is this? All right. Sorry about technical difficulties here. Did you see that, or
I haven't seen that
let
one?
me see. Okay, okay, there we go. No, I meant the poster. Did you see the poster? There you go. Okay. There's the poster. So The Idea of You, it stars Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galtzine. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. So basically, Anne Hathaway is a divorced mother, single mother. She's about to go on a trip with her friends, or her daughter's about to go on a trip with her father to Coachella. And something happens to where the father, the ex-husband, can't take the kids anymore. And Anne Hathaway's character is forced to take the daughter to Coachella, where a boy band from long ago is performing. And the lead singer, and that this boy band, Amber Moon, the daughter used to watch them. They're now out of style. She's not in 7th grade anymore. And basically the story is about her falling in love with the lead singer of this boy band group. So it's one of those May December romances. It goes through it pretty much goes through everything you expect it to be. This is a rom-com in every sense of the word. It's the dance around.
Wait.
Whether
How
they're
old
going to
was
get
the
together
boy
or not.
in the boy band?
He's probably in this one. He's probably mid-20s, mid to late 20s.
Okay. She's
Anne Hathaway. Yeah. So Anne Hathaway is probably in her 40s and still looking hot. So there's that first encounter where they're kind of falling for each other, and then she snaps out of it, realizes she's too old. And then ultimately they get together. He buys a bunch of her artwork from her company. They then go on a tour of Europe, on the boy band tour of Europe, where they're caught by the paparazzi. And then when they decide to make it public, there's the family aspect of it. The daughter is no longer finding this cool. In fact, she's being bullied and harassed because of this. And so you have what should be true love being influenced by this age difference, by fame, and so forth. I'll just say this: it's not a terrible movie, but it's a rom-com in every sense of the word. I believe I would throw this in the Lifetime category. It's not a male-oriented film unless you're a big fan of Anne Hathaway. I believe that this movie is mostly set for the female audience and the ones who like love and like to fall in love. And so I can't recommend it for me personally. I think what the appeal that this movie has for the Lifetime audience is the fact that you have Anne Hathaway in it. She's she's honed her craft. She's done a good job. And she's allowed herself to be once again in a rom-com and performs admirably in it. But there's nothing really in this movie that stands out that makes me want to see it again. I think the last rom-com that did that for me was I'm going way back, but Music and Lyrics with Drew Barrymore and Hugh Grant. For some reason, I can't stop watching that movie, and that movie has a boy band in it as well. And so,
but that movie had a certain charm to it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that charm that captures you, that makes you want to see that charm again, to experience those feelings again. And this movie for me just didn't have it.
Although I got to say, man, that just you describing the plot of this movie, man, sounds like basically MILF porn, right? Like it's it's a story that's been done so many times that even like porn parodies are like now, like, you know, I can see this anywhere, you know, not just Amazon is what I'm trying to say. But I do like Anne Hathaway. I think she's kind of been away for a while, right? Like she, I haven't seen her in anything recent for a pretty long time.
She does. Well, let's just say she has done a movie almost every year for the last few years.
Really?
They tend to be art pieces. Last year, she did this movie with Thomasin McKenzie from Jojo Rabbit, and it was horrible. It's just one of these kind of homoerotic lesbian thrillers, and I just hated it. And then the year before, she did another movie where she played a mother. I can't remember the name of it. I was gonna say The Fablemans, but that wasn't. Something like Brooklyn something. And she just played a mother. And I just remember going to that screening. This was award season, and she's talking about her craft. And this is the thing that I got from that screening or from that Q&A is that Anne Hathaway doesn't seem like a human being anymore. She is just so much of an actress that I think she transcends humanity, and it kind of comes across in the way she talks, and the way she talks about her craft. And you just kind of want your stars to be a little bit down to earth, and I think she's kind of gotten on that rocket ship and left Earth long ago. All right,
but you know what though, she's also one of those actresses though, man.
Let's go to your comments here.
Yeah,
let's see. Okay, am I back? Okay, Mike MC Wong, sounds dreadful. Okay, I don't know what's going on with my signal here. Okay,
I was going to say really quickly, she's one of those actresses who I feel like she gets a lot of like flack, right? Like, and I feel like it's unjustified, right? Like people seem to not like her for some reason, and I still haven't figured out why that is.
Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. How's my signal looking like?
You're fine. You're not.
Am I fine? Okay. For some reason.
Well, you're a little glitchy, but
okay. Hey, it's me in HD. Man, time flies when Anne Hathaway is now considered a cougar / MILF. I feel old. From Chris Gore here. Love seeing Film Thread on X. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out. I don't know how to. I need to do some research on how to get to that stream on X. So on Monday we'll be on X. Mike MC Wong and Bancroft Flashback. Yeah, The Graduate. Brock Samsonite. It's a Mary Sue for rom-coms. It's essentially wish fulfillment for dumb teenage girls that think they can actually have a shot with their favorite boy bands. Not sure that's exactly the plot here. The one thing I'll say is I don't necessarily buy the romance. I buy it because it's in the movie, but I don't buy the fact that these two people could actually fall in love outside of the fact that a young man could easily fall in love with a hot older woman. But I mean, that's the only conditions I can see.
But I mean, is it really that far fetched anymore? I mean, at this point, it's everybody's banging everybody. I mean, I mean, I know women my age who only date younger guys. So I mean, it's not even that far fetched.
Yeah, banging everybody. The world's coming to an end, so yeah, we're all banging each other, just like just like Matrix 2. All right, Red French Moon. Coachella isn't the bourgeoisie festival. Asking because it's my impression. Coachella isn't that a bourgeoisie festival? Just asking because it's my impression.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, it is. You have to have a lot of money to go to Coachella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have to put up with a lot of crap going to Coachella out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Which I guess the rich like to do. For Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Dante is looking good in red glasses today. Thank you for holding down the fort for Chris Gore.
No problem, man. Yeah, I'm starting to get the nickname the Black Scott Summers, man. I love it.
All right. From a Rumble, ADLS24. Love thinking of Chris pulling his hair out after Alan's technical difficulties. Yeah. Oh, you have no idea. All right. Big Worm, $10. Thank you so much. Hey, Alan /Riot. Seeing the promotion for episode 1, how they flooded it with 75% Disney Star Wars. I won't be seeing it in theaters with my boys. We will watch it at home. F Disney Star Wars. Live long and prosper. There we go. Yeah, my daughter has zero interest in seeing Star Wars. And so if I do it this weekend, it'll just be for nostalgia's sake and maybe just having said I'd done it. Big Worm, member for 18 months. Thank you for the support for all this time. Best wishes to Frank Gore.
They're also doing something really big at the Disney hotel, right, or resort or whatever in Florida for tomorrow. Oh,
I don't know. What have you heard?
I think Lorena Creole, guys, if you haven't followed her, you should. She's amazing. But she posted I think she posted something about like they're doing something at the resorts tomorrow for May the 4th.
Yeah, if I'm guessing, they are encouraging people to show up in cosplay so that they can make more publicity videos for Star Wars. All right, let's pivot.
Okay, see, that's wrong. That should have been you, Alan. That should have been you.
Oh, there's one. There's one of me. Nope. All right. Hey, let's talk about the movie we're here for. The Fall Guy. Whoops. Lori. We're fighting buttons here. The Fall Guy. Yeah. Hey, Dante, why don't you give us the quick rundown on this one?
Yeah, so the Fall Guy. Jesus Christ. By the way, that was not a Freudian slip. There's nothing gay about the Fall Guy. Well, not that I can remember. But no, the Fall Guy was it's one of those remakes that are loosely based on the original, right? Kind of like 21 Jump Street, how the movies had nothing to do with the show. It's one of those remakes, basically. Starsky and Hutch had nothing to do with Ben Stiller, had nothing to do with the old 70s show. The Fall Guy is a loosely based reboot, I guess, of the old Lee Majors televised Fall Guy show, which I watched all the time when I was younger, man. I had a huge crush on Heather Locklear, or was it Heather Thomas? It was Heather Thomas, right?
Heather Thomas, yes.
Yeah, Heather Locklear was in
T.J. Hooker.
T.J. Hooker, right. You know what? Back in the day, I confused those two girls all the time. So,
absolutely.
And by the way, they were like the hotties of the time, man. Like Heather Locklear was smoking. But no, it was a remake of that, and it's about a stuntman who gets mixed up in this. God, I don't even know how to say it. Like this.
It's kind of like a missing actor.
Missing actor that he needs to find. The guy that he does the stunt work for. It turns out to be more complicated than that because I'm trying to talk and I'm trying to talk about this movie without giving it away. Right. Because there's things that literally I can give away right now that I'm trying not to do.
Yeah,
He
I
gets
would
caught
say
up in something.
just go up to the point where he's where he has to go search for the actor.
Yeah, so he's a stunt man. Something happens at the beginning of the film where he gets put out of commission for a while, so he hasn't worked for a while. He gets a call to like get back into the game, get back into stunt work. He takes it, but then he gets caught up in something that he didn't want to get caught up in, and then hilarity ensues from there.
All right. Yeah, I'll say this. Wasn't watching a lot of TV when I was in high school because I was in high school and apparently I was doing way too much work in high school compared to high schoolers today. Because the Fall Guy came out right during those high school years. So I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I did love Lee Majors as Cody Seaward. Yeah, Sievert, just because of $6 Million Man. And yeah, Heather Thomas was hot. But it was basically in the TV show, he was a stuntman whose side gig was a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And the Jody character was a kind of a bounty hunter in training as opposed to the director here. I'll just say, for the most part, I like this movie. I had fun with it. I had issues with it, but you're not really watching this movie necessarily for the plot. You are watching it for the big stunt action set pieces. You're watching it for a little bit of intrigue, and you're also watching it for any chemistry that Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt have. And I think for the most part, it worked here.
It worked for me.
Yeah, like there's a segment in the middle of the movie where they play around with the split screen. They call it out, and I thought, it was like that was probably the most nostalgic moment I had in this movie, because I had. That split screen device, you saw in a lot of the 60s kind of cool and hip television shows and movies, and here they kind of bring that back, and I think for the most part it worked. I will say that the only real issue I had with this movie is the Ryan Gosling character, because he seemed kind of, I'll describe him as the modern male. The one who is overly in touch with his feelings and emotions, and the one who is hypersensitive of his toxic masculinity and fights like the devil to keep it at bay, and lets it slip once in a while here. There is this battle of wills between his character and Emily Blunt's character in terms of who has the dominance in the relationship. And I'm not a big fan of how it's being played out in movies today, and it certainly is played out that way here. But other than that, I did like the stunt sequences. I think in terms of the look and feel of it, it feels, I like the fact that it's mostly practical. I would say probably most likely it's 100% practical. And I kind of miss those days. And what you see now in these practical effects is it's a step back from the overblown effects that you get with these practical / hybrid CG movies. I would definitely give Fall Guy a recommendation. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I felt like they did touch on that towards the end of the film about how, practical effects versus the big CGI stuff. I feel like they did talk about that. No, I agree with you. I think, well, okay, I disagree on some level. I don't think he was very good at conveying his feelings in the film. I think that was part of the problem between him and Emily Blunt.
Well, and it's also the plot device. It was part of the plot.
Right. I felt like him and Emily Blunt did have a lot of chemistry together, which was good. I didn't feel like she was a girl boss. Like, I felt like she wanted to be a girl boss, but she really wasn't. And she was really good at portraying that as someone who should be a girl boss, but she's not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like Emily Blunt did a great job. I didn't love this film. I think a lot of people who I talked to who have seen like earlier versions really liked it. I thought it was okay. Look, I felt like I knew what I was getting into, right? I knew there was going to be a lot of slapstick. I knew there was going to be a lot of inside baseball, right? And I tend not to like those kind of movies that are too inside baseball, because it's like, okay, I get what you're saying, and I know you're trying to talk, you're trying to explain this, the film industry to people who aren't in the film industry. But for me, it gets a little tiresome, basically. So I tend not to like films like that. But this was a comedy. It was a comedy. There were some good moments. I love that Aaron Taylor Johnson is playing like this Logan Paul type character, and great. Played a great douchebag. Too good almost. And but I didn't love the film. I walked away feeling like, okay, it was enjoyable. It was fun. I would definitely recommend it. It's a fun date movie. Definitely a date movie. Guys, grab a girl, go watch it, or whatever you're into. Go grab a date and go watch the film. It's enjoyable, but you're not going to be. It's not going to give you that big blockbuster fix that you probably want in like a summer movie, right? And I know we're not in summer yet, but it feels like a summer movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in seeing the gender breakdown of the Fall Guy over the weekend, because I feel like that Ryan Gosling here is the movie is has put a lot of money in the fact that Ryan Gosling was Ken and Barbie last summer, and that I think that I wonder how much of that carryover will occur, and I feel like this movie is, in large part aimed at that audience, that Ken audience.
Oh,
obviously
absolutely.
Obviously, they weren't planning on that, but I think it's going to benefit from that. Oh,
I think all the girls who fell in love with him and Barbie are going to go watch this movie.
Yeah, because I think he's playing a lot more sensitive Ken in this movie.
Yeah,
and then it's I'm not sure that men are going to feel the same way about Emily Blunt that women will feel about Ryan Gosling at the end of it. Not to say that Emily Blunt, is not attractive and is not appealing, but I think I think the female factor in this movie is very high.
Also, and it's weird because Emily Blunt is a very attractive woman. But I feel like in this film she does play a very what's the word I'm looking for? A very attainable woman.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good word.
Like it doesn't seem like the way she acts and the way she dresses, and she doesn't seem hard to get. Is what I'm trying to say, right? But in a good way though, right? Like she's very relatable. She's very kind of like normal girl, normal woman, but she's not playing like this, like sex vixen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's approachable for women going to go watch the movie, and they get to see Ryan Gosling without a shirt on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think to your point, where rom-coms and romances, the appeal for men is usually in that female character. A, is she super hot, or B, is she attainable? And I think you've got to go kind of in one direction or the other. And if you can make that super hot woman who is definitely attainable, then you've got a movie that will appeal to men.
That is the magic right there.
Yeah. And I swear we're going to get canceled for this video. I'm just like, aren't we talking common sense? Isn't that?
No. Honestly, we are probably giving the best review for this movie that people are going to get, because we're being very honest about it in a way that most critics are not going to be honest about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not saying it's a bad movie. We're saying go watch it. But just know this is what you're getting into.
Yeah. Well, in my review on Friday, for my review yesterday of this, it's definitely a date movie. It is a date movie. And I will just final word. I miss practical stunts. I Fast and Furious. I'll always harp on this. The Fast and Furious is a animated adult live action movie. Because you can't do those stunts in real life. And here you have stunts being done practically. People being hit, people being, dropped from very high heights. I miss that. Practical will always be better than CGI.
And I love the fact that the guy who directed the film was a stuntman himself, which was really cool. I can't remember his name right now, but
David Leap.
Yeah, he was actually a stuntman. So, and I love the little homage at the end, where they're like showing like the practical stunts. And and how they did them, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, the Jackie Chan post credit scenes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah, and then yes, there's a cameo from Lee Majors and Heather Thomas.
See, I wasn't going to spoil that, but you did.
Yeah,
it
I
for
mean,
me.
how do you first of all, it's not a spoiler. Oh, yeah, final thoughts, Dante.
Final thoughts. Look, this is a popcorn flick. Okay, there's not a lot in the theaters right now that are really worth watching. So, like I said, man, grab a date, go watch this movie. She'll have fun, you'll have fun, and it won't be a waste of your time.
All right. Okay, let's get to your comments here. Let's see, from Carlos Alfredo Lopez, the Fall Gay.
The Fall Gay.
For more MAGA, Bullet Train was bad. Why is this any better?
Two different stories.
Two different stories. It's the same director. I think that's why Bullet Train is being brought up here. Same director. Bullet Train is a kind of a hyper-realized action movie. Also, how do you have a bullet train in Japan that has no Japanese people on it? And yeah, and as hyper-realized as the plot is in this movie, it is a practical movie. It's all about the action. From Uncle Remus, The Fall Guy. Now that's a movie that would do well.
No, The Fall Gay.
The Fall Gay. Oh yes, The Fall Gay. Let's see. I was gonna make a important comment there, but I'm not. From Mike MC Wong, I was bored by The Fall Guy, but Desiree loved it. Yeah, chick flick. Bill S. Preston Esquire. It's not gay to think Ryan Gosling is hot.
No, that's a good-looking man.
Yeah. We will agree with you there. From Byron B. I can't get excited about The Phantom Menace, especially with no Dolby or IMAX. A terrible movie with a good villain. I hate to say it. I'll lose my cred. I actually did like Phantom Menace. I also do remember that night coming home having a big argument with my roommate over the movie. So even then, I knew it was a good.
I like the Phantom Menace when I saw it, and then 3 hours later, I was like, "Oh, that was garbage."
I mean that pod racing scene, I loved it, and I think that was one of the early games I got for my N64, the pod racer. Martin Swerve, I've totally lost cred with the audience now. For Martin Swerve, the character had the same name and was a stuntman. That's about it. Yeah.
Like I said, it was a loosely based, reboot, remake.
Yeah, because otherwise we'd have a bounty hunter story as the B plot, and I'm not sure that I necessarily want that in the movie. Red French Moon for €2. Did they make the intro? Did they keep the intro music of the show? Would that be a spoiler?
That's a spoiler.
I think they played it.
Yeah, they did, but it's a spoiler.
Okay, it's a spoiler. So no, they didn't. From Sifax, Fall Guy was pretty fun, but it's more of a chick movie with good action and some laughs. I definitely enjoyed it overall, though. That's now that we're talking about it, it's interesting. But I think the more and more I think about it, this is a chick flick, and it's interesting to me that that's the direction they went, and it would be also interesting to see how well it does this weekend.
Well, how do you not put Ryan Gosling in the film and not make it somewhat of a chick flick, right? I mean, I'm not saying Ryan doesn't appeal to women, but I think his more current work does. You know what I mean? Because I'm more of a, like, my favorite Ryan Gosling movie is Drive, right? I'm more of that kind of Ryan Gosling. But, I don't know if he's ready to play those roles anymore, from what I read recently.
Well, he is kind of going down that road of the wimpy male, that, like, you remember The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe. I mean, very much that. He's he's kind of the beta male, and
which is weird for him, but yeah.
But that's the direction his career is headed down. It appears. Also, compare Ryan Gosling to Lee Majors.
You mean in real life?
Is coming off $6 million man. No, in terms of the way he carries himself in movies and television.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we're talking two different eras, though, man.
Yeah,
there was no sensitive male back in the early '80s and late '70s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they were men's men. They were the men that men wanted to be.
Yeah,
and I think Ryan Gosling is the men women wish men would be.
Or they think they wish men would be.
Yeah, they think
But they don't
want
really want that.
We are so getting canceled.
You know what? Welcome to my world.
Oh boy.
I live in the cancel zone, man.
I mean, common sense. What happened to common sense? Mike MC Wong. It took forever for the plot to get going. The first act was like an hour and 15 minutes of boring, lame romance. I don't know. I kind of liked it. I mean, having said what we said, I did like the romance.
Yeah, no, I liked Emily Blunt, man. I think they had good chemistry together.
Yes. Triple Threat 305. I am watching it tonight. Saw a doc on Peacock about the stunt team. Pretty impressive, the amount of effort and detail they put into it. Yeah. I mean, it's very much. I mean, that was the one thing about the original Fall Guy that we haven't talked about. But you know, the character Sievert, he was a bounty hunter. Colt Sievert. He was a bounty hunter, and he used his stuntman equipment and tools and know-how to catch the bounty hunters. That was the twist on the show. It wasn't just a punch 'em up, shoot 'em up, A-team type show. It was
he used his stuntman skills to catch the guy he was after.
Yeah, and there's that fight in the gunfight in the middle where his gun has blanks and the enemy doesn't, and the axe that Winston Duke has is a rubber axe. That's the callback to the series. Chelsea Marcellus. Last time I checked, Emily Blunt is the one of the only actresses in Hollywood that goes against the strong female character crap. So could be an interesting movie. Yeah, you mentioned there is a girl boss element to it, but it is explained in the movie. There's a reason for it, and a reason why that is exploited in the movie. All right. Again, from Sifax, I liked the movie, seemed very self-aware and didn't take itself too seriously. Yeah. You kind of want movies like that nowadays. Goober, Gosling and Blunt carry it pretty well. Gosling did play another version of Brad Pitt from Bullet Train, though. Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, again, two very different movies. And I'm not sure the Gosling character is actually the Brad Pitt character. I think the Pitt character is a bit more of a confident man, so to speak. From Oliver Levery Farag for £5, I felt a Blade Runner connection with this movie because I could really do with a director's cut without the VO. Okay, other than that, it was really fun. So not having the voiceover from Colt Sievert. Don Minack, Heather Thomas, Vavavoom. Then you may not want to see the movie. This is the thing. We all get older, and our appearances change, and sometimes we interfere with that too much. I'll just leave it at that. Brock Samsonite, exactly.
Oh, God, yeah.
We are canceled for sure. The girls drag their boyfriends to Barbie. Will now be dragged to see this movie by one of their boyfriends. Yeah, I mean that would be interesting. That this might be the reason to take a girl to the movie. All I remember about Fall Guy TV series is it stars the $6 Million Man and spoils the ending of Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry with the show's opening credit. Yeah, I think that movie came out a while ago. I'm just checking here. All right, let's go to Sons and Shadows, who gifted 5 Film Thread memberships. Let's see, where are we at? Yeah, let's pivot. But by way of an article that happens to have something to do with this movie. This just came out in the Hollywood Reporter yesterday. And I don't know if you caught this. Let me hide the comment there. I don't know if you caught this, Dante, but the Fall Guy faces criticism over Johnny Depp and Amber Heard joke. A line of dialogue in The Fall Guy is causing discourse among some viewers prior to its opening in theaters. The David Leitch directed action comedy starring Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Hannah Waddington's character Gail Meyer at one point makes a reference to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's turbulent relationship. In the scene, Waddington, who plays the executive producer of the movie, reportedly walks into the trailer while looking disheveled and tells director Jody Moreno, "It looks like Amber and Johnny were just in here." And Twitter went nuts. And by Twitter went nuts, they found one person with 2,000 followers, respectable, I will grant that, who found offense at it and was able to make their post viral. A, do you remember this scene? And B, is it a big deal, or am I right about the nature of social media?
You know what's funny is I remember the scene. I don't remember her saying that at all. And because it was, if she said it, it was very quick.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this was a whole article written about this tells me that this writer has an agenda.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Hollywood Reporter, and
well, either that, or it was a very slow news day.
I tweeted about this. Yeah, well, if you're at UCLA, it wasn't a slow news day, but I'll say this: what I tweeted about this was I basically said, regarding the joke, detestable. That's debatable, but my thing was, don't apologize for this. I hope the director David Leitch, I hope Ryan Gosling, I hope no one apologizes for this joke, and if anything, just own the joke. You made the joke. It may or may not have been slightly distasteful.
Not only did you make
but
the
just
joke,
move on. We just can't. Oh, was that?
I was gonna say not only did they make the joke, but
Okay.
the joke made it into the final cut of the film. So yeah, at this point, don't apologize, right? You had plenty of time to take that out, and you kept it in there, right, for the final cut of the film. So don't backtrack it now.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look. Let's say it was distasteful. Let's say it was rightfully offensive. I'm at this point now where A, I don't care anymore. B, I like people who are imperfect. And B, if you're imperfect and you might have offended people, just own up to it.
Own it. Yeah.
This was, just say, I thought it was funny. We put in the movie and we're going to move on because let's just say it. This joke is not going to have major impact on anything. And if anything, it is that callback to this tumultuous court case that we had to watch on the internet and on television. And it just kind of wraps itself up in that. And I'm just glad it happened. And please don't apologize for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, anytime I see an article from the Hollywood Reporter or from Variety or from any of these other industry magazines, I always take it with a grain of salt because most of the time they're going to err on the side of being woke. They just are.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't know if I even believe what most reporters write anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless I hear it from the horse's mouth directly, like with the Jordan Peele thing, right? Like until I hear them say it, I'm a little like, yeah, we'll see, right? Because I can't trust journalists anymore.
Yeah, I'll say this. The other thing that this brings up is the importance that journalism, like the Hollywood Reporter, places in people on Twitter with a relatively moderate follower count. I looked up the original post. The person had like 2.3 thousand followers. I have less. And for the let's throw me into the mix here. For the Hollywood Reporter to report anything that I say or I tweet says that they're truly desperate, because I don't have the impact, I don't have the influence, and this is something that has been happening in journalism, and especially entertainment journalism, for almost since the dawn of social media and Twitter. Is there's this need to validate people who don't really matter.
Yeah.
On Twitter, and to give them the importance and the sway that they don't really have. And and you saw it early on with politicians where, hey, you said this, but the internet is ablaze, and they're offended by what you say. What say you? And my response now is, who is this person? Why does
Right.
this person matter? And the same thing about me. Who is Alan Ing? Why should I care what my pal Al says on Twitter?
Look,
You know,
if
that's the
I
kind of
say
thing.
something wrong, I will apologize. Other than that, I don't take back anything I say ever, unless I'm wrong about a fact. If I'm wrong about a fact, I will gladly correct myself and apologize if I get it wrong. If I'm stating an opinion, I will never apologize for my opinions. I just won't. If I say a joke, I'm standing by that joke, right? So if I say an opinion, I'm standing by that opinion until you prove me wrong otherwise. But here's the thing:
also,
we're talking about the film industry. So,
yeah, I mean, this is the thing I always say when stuff like this really blows up. We're talking about a movie.
Yeah,
as much as we love movies, it's just a movie. All right, let's go to your comments. We're keeping going here. From Snakes and Shadows, jokes are fair game for comedy. Absolutely. In fact, jokes and comedy go hand in hand. Jim T, people losing their shit, just like Amber.
Well, she didn't lose it.
She donated it.
She knew exactly where it went.
Yeah, from Bill S. Preston Esquire. Yeah, even direct quotes get pulled out of context. Yeah. From Big Blue Dog, creators need to normalize keep crying about it to offend critics. Yeah, absolutely. It's just this apology tour that Hollywood seems to need to go on, because there have been people. I remember the Russos. One of the Russo brothers talked about a conversation he had with Ben Shapiro, and the crap he went over just having a conversation with Ben Shapiro. And it wasn't that they agreed on something. The conversation was about something they disagreed over. And he made the mistake of acknowledging the fact that he talked to someone who had a different opinion than himself, and then encouraged us to have conversations like that. And then days later, he apologized for it. And I'm like, no, that was something you should have stood behind. That action you did. From Oliver Lavery Frog, Alan's rule to being canceled: never apologized. Yeah, I mean, sometimes if you do something cancelable, you own up to it. That's what redemption, that's what forgiveness, that's what grace is all about, and that's something we need in society more and more today. And then from Sons and Shadows, a member for 9 months. Thank you again for your support, because I know you've been around for more than 9 months. Love the crew of Film Threat. Keep Dante on staff. Well, Dante wrote more reviews.
I'm always around.
Yeah, he's always around. All right, let's pivot. Here we go. Yeah, that's me on peyote. All right, we are moving on to the film Jeanne du Barry. I need to. Apparently there's a certain order I have to do this on StreamYard. There we go. The movie is Jeanne du Barry. It stars Johnny Depp. Why did I see it? Because it stars Johnny Depp. This movie premiered at Cannes to amazing applause and a standing ovation. Jeanne du Barry is the story of a young woman who, as a child, was born of a cook, out of an affair between a cook and a priest. The cook now lives in dishonor and disgrace, as well as her daughter, Jeanne. But she's a very beautiful girl, and the person who hired her mother as the cook took a liking to her and taught her things like reading and education and the search for knowledge. This man even paid for her to attend school at a convent, where she was kicked out because she read books. So now that Jeanne is a fully grown woman, she has two choices in life. She can either be a cook like her mother or a harlot and courtesan. And she decides to become a harlot. And here she uses her knowledge and her intelligence and the things she's learned about life to manipulate men into basically elevating her status in life, and so she finds herself being able to sit amongst the royalty and the elite of France and hold her own, even though her past is her past. And at one moment, the King of England, Louis XV, played by Johnny Depp here, takes a liking to her and decides that she must be his, and she is all up for it. And a scandal occurs. And so what has to happen is that Jeanne has to marry a baron, so that she can become a baroness, thereby bringing more class to this affair than he could have without her. And the story is about Jeanne and her journey as a strong, intelligent, self-assured woman, and her rise to be the courtesan of the king. I knew nothing about this going in. This movie, I will say this: let's see, May Wen is the one who plays Jeanne. She wrote and directed the movie. She fought hard to get Johnny Depp to play the king, so she fought hard to get an American to play a Frenchman. This movie is told in French. This movie is one of those movies. It's an art film that is meant to win awards, and that is what they're going for, and that comes across greatly. My biggest issue with this movie is that Jeanne doesn't change throughout the entire film, even as a child. She is this strong woman who has to find her place in this world, who has to deal with bullying from the other women in the elite women of that time. She has to use her feminine wiles to prove to men that she is a strong person, and that she uses her strength and her intelligence to change the culture of France, especially in the area of fashion and etiquette. Lastly, I guess the reason this story is being told, why Jeanne du Barry is so important, is that she was kind of one of the last people to be executed during the French Revolution. Marie Antoinette plays a part in here, but this movie pretty much is about the love story between her and Louis XV, and it's an art film. I think the best thing about this movie is Johnny Depp. He is a standout performer in this movie in terms of, Johnny Depp has a presence on screen that all the other actors can't bring. And he gives a very nuanced performance to the king, especially in the sense that I don't know if it's the fact that he doesn't speak French fluently, but a lot of his performance is in his physicality, in his look. And I think you kind of expect that from Johnny Depp. From like Edward Scissorhands to many others' performances. It's not about what he says, but how he carries himself on screen. Right. And to me, that's probably the best thing about this movie. But this is if I were to say this is a fairly typical French biopic with the feel of a BBC production behind it, that's what this movie is. It's meant for you to appreciate and enjoy it for the sake of art and for the message it has to say. And that's about as good as this movie is going to get.
I was going to ask, how did the actress do? Because I know, like, the only thing I've ever seen her in, besides this movie, which I haven't seen, the only thing I know her from is like The Fifth Element, right? She plays the blue lady who was singing at the space bar or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, I don't know a lot about her career, but there were documentaries before and after it. There's a Q&A with Johnny Depp after the movie. So apparently, May Wen is becoming quite a prolific filmmaker in France, and I'll say a prolific female filmmaker, and it shows. There is a level of the movie is well shot. It's told in some very beautiful locations on set in France. But it is that movie that just says, here's a strong woman and I want to tell her story. And here it is. I think character development is missing in this movie. And it needed to have been there for Jeanne du Barry. I find it interesting, this poster, you see Johnny Depp's face and not hers.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
says
no,
a lot
that
about
says
the
a lot,
market.
actually.
Yeah.
Now here's the question too.
Mhm.
So is this movie a road back for Johnny Depp?
No, look, Johnny Depp's very good in this movie. I don't know that it's Oscar worthy. It could potentially be. But in terms of step back, I mean, look, I think Johnny's last few years have been a step back for him. And I think he's making the smart choice of just leaving America, going to Europe and making movies there. I think, let's put it this way. He's making movies in countries that like him, that want him. And if you're wanted like this, make your movie. And again, he puts everything into it.
Well, he's always been very picky about the roles he takes.
Mhm.
I know, just from what I know of him and people who know him, he's turned down way more movies than he's accepted.
Oh yeah.
So he's always been really picky about the roles he takes, and he always likes taking these off Hollywood type roles. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
maybe this is where he's going to stay. Maybe this is going to be his wheelhouse moving forward. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the question is how tainted is his career in America?
Is it though?
Yeah. I mean, you're asking a really good question because I think Disney would be willing to pay a shit ton of money to get him back as Jack Sparrow.
Oh, absolutely. In a heartbeat. Will he take it? Absolutely not. But I don't think he's as done in Hollywood as some people think he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's only done because he wants to be done, not because the industry's done with him.
Yeah. Well, let's also be honest. The whole trial thing, the whole Amber Heard thing is, people will still, regardless of what the outcome of his trial was, people still think he did what he did.
But from what I've seen, the majority are still on his side in that. And I'm talking women. I saw more women defending Johnny Depp than men during that trial.
Yeah, which is why I think he definitely has a shot to come back to the US and make movies, to Hollywood and make movies. And I think the ball is in his court. Absolutely.
Because I would love to see Johnny Depp back in like a big budget Hollywood film.
I would. I just don't think he'll do it. I think okay, I don't know him. I don't know anything about him, but you can definitely get the sense that he felt burned by Hollywood. He felt
who wouldn't, man?
Yeah, and rightfully so. So I'll say this: maybe he's going down the road of Mel Gibson. Yeah,
and that's not a bad road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So final verdict on Jeanne du Barry. Yeah, it's Oscar bait. It's an Oscar bait art film. That's ultimately it.
Oh, you mean like a typical Cannes movie?
Yes. This movie is so pretentious. Yeah, it is very pretentious, and the highlight of the movie is Johnny Depp's performance. I think May Wynn is not, very French actress. Very and I would throw feminist in there as well. This is a feminist tale, so I'm not afraid to say that word, but it feels that way, and it's not for everybody. It's it may show up again at the end of the year. My gut tells me it's not going to make that kind of impression. If anything comes out of award season, it'll be Johnny Depp's performance. Okay, let's check out your comments here from Martin Swerve. The character has the same. Okay, read that one. Johnny Depp speaks French. Yes, he does. This movie is entirely in French.
Well, he lives in France, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got a he's not bad. What? He's not a pirate in this one. He could be. He looks like one. The French certainly dress like pirates. From Thomas Pickett. I hope he does a Brooklyn accent in it. Yes. I was just telling Atomic Lori, I remember Johnny Depp from 21 Jump Street. The first time I saw him.
That was our first introduction, man.
Yeah. Or actually, wasn't Nightmare the first introduction?
Oh, you're right. Nightmare on Elm Street, then 21 Jump Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Nightmare was like, what, 85?
Yeah. All right. Yumazir, French. Let's talk about the sex scene. Yeah, you're gonna be disappointed about that one. There's the aftermath of a sex scene, but there's not a lot of sex in it. No boobs. From a Krizik. At Joseph, I'll never forget the scene with Johnny getting sucked into a cursed bed. Funny how that worked out with Amber years ago. Jeanne, the costuming looks great. I mean, you do a French period piece, you're gonna get good costuming. Which reminds me of a short film I'm going to review pretty soon, Jane Austen's period film. And yes, it's Jane Austen's period film. Hey, it's me in HD. Art House Johnny Depp is the best Depp, so maybe I'll check this one out. Okay, absolutely. Nothing really fundamentally wrong with it, but it's very, you kind of, it does feel like a BBC production at times. From old, let's put it that way. From Jim T, Depp still has his supporters and audience. Yes, absolutely. JT also says Depp will work in spite of Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, the French love Johnny Depp and Jerry Lewis. Andrew Cram, how good is Johnny Depp's French? It's good. I mean, I'm not a connoisseur of the French language by any means. It sounded fine. Nicholas Vargo, member for 6 months. Thank you for your support. Chris, we miss you and looking forward to your return. And then from Byron B, no boobs, Alan. There you go. All right, let's pivot once again. We'll get to the last movie, and then we have the news, the boobs story that we're going to talk about. But we're going here.
Yo, Adrian! I did it!
That's hilarious, man.
All right. Let me just set up here. Sorry. Here we go. Dante, you saw Tarot. Tell us about Tarot.
Yep, Tarot. Oh my God, this movie was bad. So Tarot, starring really nobody of substance. I think the biggest star in the film was the fat kid who played Peter Parker's friend in the MCU Spider-Man movies. What's his name? Brandon something
like that. I forget his name. He's Filipino. I know that.
Yeah, he's Filipino. That guy, the one who played.
I think it's Dante Bustamante. I believe. That's his name.
Tom Holland's best friend in Spider-Man. He's the biggest star, and basically, it's a movie about 7 college friends who rent out this Airbnb at this spooky house. Right, that's like 4 hours away from their college. Break into a forbidden room they're not supposed to go into, right? Go into the basement and see a bunch of weird artifacts lying around for no real reason. And then come across this wooden box full of tarot cards. And it just so happens that one of the 7 knows how to read tarot. Imagine that, right? So the girl warns her friends that, and they're all drunk, obviously, warns her friends that you should never read someone else's tarot cards because you never know, right? So she gives us the warning. But they insist because they're drunk and they're not afraid of anything. And sure enough, she reads these cursed tarot cards, and all of her friends are basically dying in the way that their cards came out. So that's the story. And look, man, from the bad acting to the ridiculous story. Okay, so let's start with the ridiculous story. Why would 7 college people rent a weird house 4 hours away from their college with no lake, right? No river, no nothing to really do outside except drink, right? And then, of course, they break into a room that they shouldn't be in just because that's what people do, right? When they rent an Airbnb, screw the deposit. We're going to break into a room just because, right? So they do that. It was just, look, man, if this movie were scary, I would have been more okay with it because it's like, okay, at least it's scary. It wasn't scary. Wasn't really that funny. At least not in the way that they wanted it to be. I mean, it was comical in a lot of ways that were because it was a bad movie. And look, here's the thing. I will say this. They did hit their diversity quota. Oh, they hit it hard, man. They had a lesbian couple. I think the the fat kid from Spider-Man played a non-binary character. You know, they had the one black guy, they had the one white girl, right? They had one guy who might be white. I couldn't tell completely. And then they had a Latina, right? So they covered all their bases, man. Because the Asian kid was also non-binary. So they checked every box they could. So bravo, I guess, on that, right?
Well done.
Well done. They made sure they ran it through the AI, and they hit every DI checkpoint. It was not a good film. It was so bad that because I did, on Thursdays I do the double feature because I'm doing the show with you, and I saw that movie first, thank God. Because after I saw that movie, I went straight to the bar and drank for an hour, then went back and watched The Fall Guy because that's how bad Tarot was.
Yeah.
I needed to drink in between films.
I mean, can you imagine? First of all, it was Jacob Batalon. That's his name. But look, let's be real here. I mean, how much worse would this movie have been had it been an all-white cast?
Oh no! No matter who they cast, this movie was bad, right? I'm just saying that I blatantly noticed how diverse that whole group was. It was like I never see groups like that in real life. I'm sorry, I just don't. Not to that extent, where they literally haven't been everybody.
Let's be real. When I show up to a movie meetup on Thursdays, it looks like that.
Okay, not in the way this movie projects.
Well, racially speaking, let's put it racially speaking.
Like it's like they made sure to not miss anybody.
Yeah, but my point is that the movie is better because of that diversity. And
of course.
So much worse had it just been a completely
nothing would have saved this movie. Like there's no cast that they could have cast that would have saved this movie. You could have cast like every A-list star in Hollywood to play these parts, and it still wouldn't be bad because the story is just awful.
Yeah,
and the production was really dumb. The only thing I'll give it credit for is some of the makeup was pretty damn good. I'll give them that. Like the makeup was good. The monsters from the tarot cards were cool. You know what it reminded me of, man, if I'm being honest? It gave me the same disappointment I got when I watched 13 Ghosts. Right? Remember that movie? From the mid-2000s, 13 Ghosts. Great. I like it even though it's a bad movie. But my thing is that movie has so much potential to be amazing, right? I felt like this movie had that same potential if they did it right. It could have been a great horror film. And it's almost like they didn't have the balls to go there, to really go there. And
I mean, I kind of want to hone in on that, but what was it about this story that just that fell short? When you say go there, where should they have gone?
You know what? Oh man, I feel like it was like a combination of the bad acting along with these monsters, these things I feel like they didn't go deep enough, right? Like I feel like there could have been more lore to like what they were talking about. There could have been more depth to the way that these monsters were killing and why they were killing. Like they do explain what happened and how the cards got cursed. Okay, at least they do that. But it just felt so like lazy. That's the word I'm looking for. It felt like a lazy horror film. Like they did just enough to call it horror and then wandered off.
Yeah, going back to the whole diversity thing, I think it probably would have been a better movie had it been all white people, because then you'd see 7 white people dying.
I'm not saying people didn't die in the film. It's just there was a lot of corn involved, right? It was, and I'm not using corn as a sub for porn. I mean, it was just corny.
Corniness. Yeah,
it was just corny. Okay. You know what? This movie could have used some boobs, to be honest with you. We didn't get any boobs. And thankfully we didn't get any male nudity either, because they like to do that now, right? It's like they won't give you boobs, but hey, here's some balls for you, right? Yeah. I mean, so it just wasn't it just wasn't a fun movie, man. And that kind of movie should have been, if it wasn't going to be scary, it should have at least been fun, right? Because there's fun horror and then there's scary horror. It was neither.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, give us your final thoughts on it.
Oh, absolutely not. Like, look, this movie was short, and I still feel like I wasted too much time. It made me want to drink when I was done. A movie shouldn't make you feel that way.
All right. Let's go to your comments here. Lori and I are on the same page because we are starring the same comments at the same time constantly.
You guys are in sync.
We are in sync. From hey, it's me in HD. Damn, Dante, your opening line for this review is hilarious. My ribs hurt. Yeah, from Oliver Lavery Frog.
I can laugh about it now.
Oh, here we go. It sounds terrible. I'm here,
nice.
Here all week. There you go.
Nice.
From B-Rad, I dated a girl who was really into tarot cards one time. She also had a vegan cat. Why do I not think you're lying here? You lasted long. Yeah, you dodged a bullet there. From Triple Threat 305, horror Jumanji.
Actually, that would have been a better concept than this movie.
Yeah, that was the blackening though.
Yeah, actually.
For Big Blue Dog, the movie is going to suck. I see it in the tarot cards. Yeah. I don't remember the suck card, but I believe you. Spider Sensei 72, being known in Hollywood as Peter Parker's fat friend must be killing this dude's career. See, I think the bolder choice was rather than make him non-binary, make him queer.
I think he was. It was hard to tell. They were really ambiguous about it.
Mm-hmm.
But they were hinting that he was something, other than he is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. From Saban Rob MME, super checked all boxes. From Bill S. Preston Esquire, break into the locker room in an Airbnb. It sounds like something spoiled Hollywood writers would do. You're probably right. Jim T, an AIDEI creation. Oh, that's when you know the end times are here.
Oh, we're already here.
Triple Threat 305. They forgot to make a good movie checkbox. Absolutely. A Nerd Far Away. The United Colors of Bennington in an Airbnb with tarot cards. Yeah, I think that's the log line that sold the film. Okay, the last set is the set design in 13 Ghosts is amazing. I love that glass house. The makeup and design of the ghost top notch. The story though, not a winner.
It was disappointing, but there were things about that movie I loved, and I wish they could have just had a better script.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing is if you lean into the horror and you lean into the kills, you can actually have a good movie with a bad story. Yes. The example I always like to give is Rumble in the Bronx. Rumble in Bronx, Jackie Chan, some of the best martial arts fighting I've seen in movies, and in a way that the way that he incorporates the environment in all of his fights in that movie is top notch and stellar. The story is horrible.
Yeah,
the story is the worst. There's a point where the little kid on the wheelchair says, whenever I see other kids playing with their sisters, I feel sad. I mean, that's the quality of the plot and the dialogue in that movie. Sifax, our Thursday meetup groups are a DEI casters wet dream. LOL. Yes, again.
Yeah, and we do it naturally. Imagine that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have a checklist when you enter. So. From Rumble,
we don't have a lesbian couple yet, though.
We'll get one. It's a matter of time. From ADLS24, was there a wheelchair user in the woods at the dilapidated cabin? Might be tough to get around. Just saying. Yeah, did they have?
No, actually, you know what? They didn't have a handicap. Surprisingly,
they did. What handicap did they have?
No, that's it. They didn't. They didn't have a handicap person.
All right. Carlos Alfredo Lopez, no boobs. No. Okay. Chris has to get back soon. I don't know how Chris plays into that. But yeah, remember when horror films used to have boobs?
Dude, all the time. You went to
Yeah.
horror films because you knew there would be boobs.
Yeah. In fact, we're gonna be talking about in just a moment. Spit my water out, Alan. Thanks. Sorry about that. Hopefully you weren't at your computer. MK Solid 82 for $4.99. Thank you for the support. I really wanted to see an extreme gore rant about the campus protests. I'll just say that I talked to Chris yesterday. We are discussing his return. He will return 100%, and he has something special when that happens. And he'll probably get mad at me for even having said that. But I want to go to this. Oh yeah, here. So let's clear the deck. And Lori, and we will go to here.
Now, say my name.
You're Chris Gore.
You're goddamn right.
All right, let's talk about this report that I just came across yesterday. It was originally featured in the Hollywood Reporter, but now let me see. Oh yeah, here we go. We're going to talk about sex in movies and how it's dropped dramatically. I'm going to pull up the report here. All right, so this is from Stephen Follows. What he does is he gets contracted once in a while to basically look up data, the data that's out there, and come to conclusions. And he was asked about sex in movies, and this is his conclusions. A couple of years ago, I looked into whether erotic thrillers were indeed dying out, or if it was just availability bias due to the fact that the main examples which come to mind were mostly from the 1980s. Rachel Lloyd from The Economist asked me to look more deeply into this, which indicated a decline in the levels of sexual content in movies. This prompted me to update and deepen the data set to help us examine what's happening and speculate on why. You can read Rachel's article in The Economist. We looked at the top 250 grossing films since the year 2000, so this century, tracking the levels of sexual content via signals from film rating bodies and film databases. So he's saying he didn't watch these movies to see if they were had nudity in it. He relied on film ratings and film databases to get that information. Yes, I believe you. There are more details on the methodology and criteria at the end. Okay. Over time, the sex declines. Comparing each year to the baseline of 2000, we can see a steady decline in the amount of sex in feature films. By 2023, it had fallen by almost 40% from the start of the century. So you're seeing the decline here.
Yeah.
Other vices are also declining. In wanting to understand this better, the first thing we may ask is, are other types of objectionable material also declining? Using the same method of looking at the signals from ratings and feedback from movies, we can be fairly sure that no levels of drinking, drug, violence, and swearing have not seen the same decline as sexual content. And you see it here. There's the red line of sexual content and then the other lines of others. What's behind the decline? At this point, I'm sure you're wondering if it's a reduction in the intensity of sexual content, i.e. the same number of scenes with sex, but with more sedate level. Or is it a case of fewer sexual scenes overall? So is the intensity of the sex declining, or is it just the removal of sex scenes? The answer is clear. It's the latter. The best driver of this reduction is in sexual content across the board is the increase in the number of movies that eschew any scenes of a sexual nature. In short, there are more movies which are squeaky clean. Let's stop here and we'll get into the reasons why after this. But yeah, what are your thoughts about this so far?
Dude, it's not even just a decline in sex scenes, man. It's a decline in romance.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even getting like romance in movies anymore, much less boobs. You know what I mean? No, really. I mean, anytime there's an opportunity for like a romantic interest in a film, it gets cut, right? Because the woman has to be a girl boss, right? She has to be her own independent woman and doesn't need a man, right? So we're not even forget sex. We're not even getting romance anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've been definitely noticing that a lot lately. A lot over time, but there as much as America is divided, there seems to be this intense need to not show men and women together romantically, which is kind of the foundation of civilization. You kind of need men and women to get together romantically in order to perpetuate a civilization.
Okay, but really quick, with that said, though, I have noticed an increase, though, when it comes to homoeroticism in movies.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Plenty of that now, but yet a decline in heterosexual romance in movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll go sociologically deeper. When you see the increase of homosexual LGBT relationships versus just straight, man-woman relationships, if I were to go the conspiracy route, there's always been this discussion of population control, and it seems like that we're promoting the relationships that don't increase the population,
right,
while downgrading the relationships that do increase the population.
Point in case, Tarot, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Tarot, there was a loving lesbian relationship, right? The heterosexual couple broke up before the movie even started. It started with them having already broken up that morning, right? So there was a heterosexual couple that broke up before the movie even started, but you had this lesbian, this loving lesbian relationship, right? Throughout the whole film. It's just that's where Hollywood is at right now, though, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I hear like there's a lack of sex, of course there's a lack of heterosexual sex, because like I said, there's a lot of homoeroticism, a lot of homosexual sex. There is not a lot of heterosexual sex anymore because it goes against agenda.
Yep. All right, let's move on and let's see. Okay, so what type of movies is the trend most apparent? Declining trend is present in most movie genres, but it's most intense in thrillers and action movies. Thriller and action movies seeing sharp decline in sex scenes, basically. And the least apparent is among romantic movies. You're seeing a bit more of it in the romantic movies, obviously. I
need to throw this out there too. There's also a correlation with the fact that the need for Hollywood to portray men as weak, right? Mm-hmm. Because weak men don't have sex, right?
Yeah.
Weak men don't have sex, right? And now men in film have to be weak. They have to be weaker than the woman that they're playing opposite against. Yeah. So that's another reason we're not seeing it.
Well, I would say that weak men can't get sex. Right. Okay. Here's an interesting chart from 2000 to 22. They're showing the gender makeup of UK cinema audiences by genre. I think so. Music. So over here, the orange is female, the blue is male. Musicals. Women like musicals. Women like romance, family movies, music movies, animation, comedy, and then where it gets kind of equal is drama, biographies, fantasy. What is this one? History, adventure, and then we get into where the men start taking over: mystery, war, western, horror. I would challenge horror for a moment, but sports, thriller, crime, action, and sci-fi. Found that interesting there. But let's see, why is this happening? The data can't give us a single definitive reason, but there are a number of things we could suggest are playing a role. Changes in audience taste. Modern audiences, particularly younger ones such as Gen Z, might have less interest in explicit depictions of sexuality. Damn, Gen Z, you're ruining everything for us. Instead, there is a growing preference for content that either avoids sexual themes altogether or handles them with more subtlety. Shifts in cultural norms, social movements, and heightened discussions around consent and gender representation have likely contributed to a more cautious approach to including sex scenes in films. Producers and filmmakers may be more sensitive to how sexual content could be perceived and potentially lead to controversy. Interesting. Global market considerations. Films that perform well at international box offices tend to favor content that can translate across different cultural norms. Explicit sex scenes may result in a more restrictive age rating or censorship, hence reduced film potential reach. Streaming age. With the rise of streaming services, which offer tailored viewing experiences, there may be less demand for sexual content in wide release films. Niche productions and series on streaming platforms where content can be targeted and controlled might absorb the demand for such material. So you're saying that you're not seeing it in movies, but you could potentially see much more nudity, intense sexuality on streaming, as they can focus that to a niche audience.
And that's true, and it's fair, because I do see a lot more on streaming than I do in the theater.
Yeah. Outdated stereotypes. The trend could also be a rejection of outdated stereotypes where sex scenes were often objectifying and presented through predominantly male gaze.
There it goes.
Yeah.
There it is. Right there. Right there. That is the one. The male gaze, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's bring back the word common sense here for a second. But yeah, I think nudity in movies appealed more to men than women. And that the way nudity and sex scenes were constructed was to please the male audience, and then transfix them into such the male gaze.
But you know what? You want to know a dirty secret though? Women love those movies too.
They do,
women beat off people. I'm sorry, I hate to break that to you. Women beat off, and they like those movies just as much as we do.
But I would liken it to Star Wars. Women like Star Wars, but not like men like Star Wars. In terms of where the money comes from, you're not hoping to capture the female audience.
Actually, no. I say they cater to women more than men. Because men, if you look at it, women, when it comes to like what they like to read. They like stories, right? A movie gives them a storyline, right? Men, we watch clips, right? I'm sorry. I don't know one guy who's watched a porn all the way through. Give me a break, bro. Give me a break. It does not happen, man. Like, it doesn't happen. Women like a storyline. So those movies are catered more to them than even us.
Yeah. I mean, does the AVN have a category for best plot?
I wish they did. I really wish they did.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, do women like nudity? I don't know, because there was a producer that hated Sydney Sweeney's boobs. So do they really? I don't know. Let's see. If
Sydney Sweeney's with a really hot guy, I think they'll excuse her boobs.
Yeah. So let's move on to 6 and 7. The availability of adult content elsewhere. I think that's pretty simple. Yeah, you can, if you really want nudity, you can get to it. It's not that hard. And the rise of intimacy coordinators. This is an interesting question. As the film industry addresses past issues of harassment and improper on-set behavior, the role of intimacy coordinators has gained prominence. Their presence could be discouraging gratuitous sex scenes unless they have a critical narrative purpose. I looked into this a few months ago, and below is the key chart. Percentage of live action movies where at least one intimacy coordinator credit. So here's the year 2020 year 2020. No movies had an intimacy coordinator credit. Here we go. We're at 0.25%. Here's a little over 0.5%, 1.2%, and then 2%. So the rise of the intimacy coordinator is there. I will say this about the intimacy coordinator. There's a really good movie about it. I think it's called Another Body or something like that. But it kind of goes into the history of it. And if you want to see a movie with a lot of celebrity nudity in it, that's a great movie to watch. But I get the point of why it was created. There have been times that actresses come on set and they realize, oh, you're doing a nude scene today, and that they were okay with doing the nude scene, but all of a sudden the parameters of that nude scene changed, and so on and so forth. And there was this need to protect the actress so that she goes into the nude scene with 100% clarity of what is required of her and why that nude scene is so important to the movie. I get that. I understand that. And I'm for the most part for that. But what's happening now, from what people have told me about intimacy coordinators, a lot of times these intimacy coordinators will talk to the actress and encourage her to question whether that is necessary. She may have been all for it, and now they're going to call a question about it. Say, hey, maybe instead of doing this, doing that. And so now you have intimacy coordinator who is directing the sex scene before it even happens. And I think that's where the issue is coming today. And I think a lot of that is as to why that maybe that there's an industry of intimacy coordinators who are actively involved in reducing the number of sex scenes that
Okay,
are
you know what?
in
I
movies.
would believe that more if I, like I said, I see a lot more sex scenes on streaming than I do in the theater. So I mean, but it's happening. Is what I'm trying to say. Like the sex scenes are happening, right? But we're talking theater. We're talking going to the movies and seeing, you know, sex or boobs on screen, whatever. I agree. There was a problem with back in the day with, we all know, the casting couch and the and you know, actors, directors maybe, you know, doing things they shouldn't have done with actresses and putting them in bad positions. Look, we can all agree that's bad, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, let's add a little nuance here. We acknowledge some of those were bad situations, right? But I don't think that's the reason, that like the real reason why we're not getting that today in the theater. I think it is more because of the male gaze, right? I think it is more that situation. I think we're living in this time where we need more girl bosses and more women who are, you know, who don't need intimacy, who don't need sex, who don't need, romance, right? And I think it's more of that issue, more so than, you know, the Me Too of yesteryear. You know what I mean? Because okay, that explains things back then. I mean, what about now, though?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the controversy of this culture war that's going on here. But the controversy surrounds this idea of what are the roles of men and women. You know, are men and women truly different, or are they truly equal, or is there a happy medium in between there somewhere?
Well, let me give you a great example here. Like, if I guarantee you, if someone wrote a script right now, they made a movie where, you know, it's a love story between a straight man and a trans woman, there would be zero problems. That movie will get released. It probably wouldn't even be edited. It would just come out. It would be right there because it promotes what they want, right? Like you'll probably see that more so than you'll see, you know, a woman and a straight man and a straight woman these days.
Yeah. The other thing is, I mean, you mentioned it before. I think in terms of nudity, it's definitely skewing more male than it is female. I remember the beginning of last year, especially after seeing the Northman. But at that point, I realized I've seen more penises on screen than I have boobs. And mind you, boobs count twice. But you saw that even Sasquatch Sunset has Bigfoot peepees in it. You know, it ultimately comes down to this. There is this fundamental crisis that's going on between men and women, and what a man is and what a woman is, and how they relate to each other.
Euphoria is the most sexualized show I've ever seen, right? And for a show that's purely about sex, especially that second season, all you saw were balls and dicks. And only one actress ever got nude in that whole show. You want to guess who that actress was?
Oh, I know who that actress was.
Yes, Sydney Sweeney, the only actress in a show full of women, right? Was the only one to get nude. Every other nude scene was from a guy.
Yeah, and because ultimately it has to come down to how much money do you want to make. This is the reason they had nudity in movies, because guys would go out and see movies with nudity in it. You know, and when we talk about Hollywood dying, and and I'm not saying that what will save Hollywood is more nudity, although
Y'all heard it.
Yeah,
Y'all heard it.
you know, but it's the fact that Hollywood has no idea who their audience is, and the fact that it's not that they're not researching the actual audience that comes to their movies. They're researching the audience that wish came to their movies, and that's what we're seeing now. And that's why Hollywood is dying. That's why the movie industry is. That's why the money's not there, and apparently now that's why certain websites and streaming seems to be capturing those because it's offering what people want.
Well, look, I'm not going to say the film industry is dying because there's no nudity. I'm saying, but it's a part of the problem. It's a part of the reason. There's a lot of other issues with Hollywood as to why movies aren't making the money they used to make. But that's a part of it, though.
Yeah,
that is a part of it, man. It's the again, not the fact that we just need to see nudity, but the fact that now you can't even have it.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird, man.
Yeah, I know there are actresses kind of who are pushing against this. I forget, there was one where it was at South by Southwest where she just basically said, I forgot who it was, but it was like, do you want an intimacy coordinator? And she said, no, I trust you guys. I trust you to do what we agreed to do. And she did it, and it was fine. And
dude, yeah,
the intimacy coordinator, I agree with the original intent of it. The idea was to avoid Me Too situations. And it was also, there's nothing wrong, and I think it's admirable to allow women to understand fully 100% what is expected of them and to fulfill that. When it oversteps,
that absolutely should happen.
When it oversteps that bounds, that's where the problem comes in. That's where, I think, it's this narrative, the message that starts winning, and and according to this, these things, that's what's causing studios to shy away from sex scenes and shy away from nudity, and we're not, let's take nudity out of it. They're shying away from sex scenes, and as you say, also they're shying away from romance.
Yeah,
and it's a shame because if anything, what movies do is it reflects our lives, it reflects society, it reflects culture. And now we're seeing movies trying to influence culture, trying to judge culture. And that's the problem I have with everything we've ever been talking about with the change that Hollywood's going down.
Dude, we talked about the movie Challengers last week, man. And again, there was more romance between the two guys than any of them and Zendaya,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I don't want to go back to that movie, but the way they shot it, it's one thing to shoot a conversation between two men, but the director went far and beyond just shooting a conversation between two men. The way they looked at each other, the way
they were always this close to each other's faces, right?
It might have, rather than have a conversation, they might as well have been kissing, which they did in the movie. All right,
but just the once.
Yeah. Final thoughts on this subject, and we'll get to comments.
Look, I think this is just the way it's going to be. I don't see this changing anytime soon. In fact, I see it getting worse because, like I said, any kind of romance or any kind of connection between two heterosexual people is going to become more of a thing of the past. I think, we'll get a few things here and there. Like, we get the Fall Guy, right? Mm-hmm. We get this cute little love story. But that's the best we're going to get is a cute little love story, right? Where they don't even kiss, right? Or they kiss like once or twice in the whole film, right? Because that's what happened in the Fall Guy. So we'll probably get that, but that's all we're going to get.
Okay, I'll defend Fall Guy. The movie's about building up to the kiss. That's the whole point. That's what makes a romance. You hold it off until the very end.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but that's the best we're going to get. We're not going to get anything more than that.
Yeah,
in major Hollywood anyway. Maybe indie films, sure, but not in big budget movies.
Yeah, I mean, even Marvel and Star Wars had romance.
Well, they used to.
Yeah, used to. Before
Endgame. Right?
Yeah, I mean the whole, with Gamora dying, that was a love story.
Sure.
My final point is that I think
you can't count anything pre-Endgame, man, or pre-Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
It's that doesn't matter anymore, right?
Mhm.
It's all post Endgame now.
Yeah. I mean, the way they ruined what was it, Thor and and Padme. Thor and Padme. Uh, you know, it was a love story, those first two movies, and then it
Yeah.
wasn't. Yeah. I'll just say that I think Hollywood is lost. I think they are so in league with the DEI grift that the only hope is really the indies. And I'll just say this, A24, Lionsgate, A24 definitely has nudity in it. Lionsgate, you could make a lot more money bringing nudity in it. I don't know if you saw, what was that movie? I can't remember it.
But that's why those studios are winning right now, though.
I'll tell you about the movie later. Yeah. Let's go. Let's do this. Comments. That's my final thoughts. From Davina Duckworth. Weren't there reports that Gen Z wants to see less sex in movies? Yes, that is the report.
Yeah.
That is the report. And look, I have a Gen Z at home. She's not interested in sex. And half of me as a father says thank you. And the other half of me
It's a good time for fathers right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. All right. From Piston Burner. Haha, did research into sex movies. I know, right? The Nerd Far Away. That's one headline I don't mind seeing. I'd really rather that be left to my own imagination. I'll show myself out. LOL. All right. I know I read that wrong. From Cal, to be honest, most times sex scenes feel super weird in movies. Look, I will acknowledge fully that especially in the 80s, sex scenes were problematic. And I'll refer to Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, because those were movies we shouldn't have been watching at like 10 years old either. You know what I mean? I mean, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I saw 9.5 Weeks when I was like 13, dude. So, I mean, I know I shouldn't have been watching that, but there it was.
I know. All right. From MK Solid 82. Sharon Stone movies were wild. The whole movie would build up to her having sex. Yeah. And there's a reason they made a lot of those. Uncle Remus, bring out the Sweeneys. Thanks, Uncle Remus. Jim T. Snow White must now consent. Yeah. The discussion would be mind-numbing. It just goes in circles. But that you do kind of have to go talk about sex in the 80s. And a lot of it was problematic. So I'll just leave it at that. From Alan Sparks. We've been sans tatas for entirely too long. # free the nips. Well, first of all, Japanese are free to do whatever they want. Bill S. Preston. I just got myself canceled on that one. All right, Bill S. Preston, Esquire. It's a deliberate queering of the stories presented to the public. Yep. Andrew Cram. Sterilize. That's the message. From Rumble, from BMO Better, sub-supporter. I have come to the conclusion that they dislike reality to the extent that they are trying to manufacture a new false reality in the hopes it will bring them happiness. 100% across the board. It's again, movies are not a reflection of society. Movies are now becoming what the people in charge want society to be.
Yeah.
From Jim T. Current Hollywood has neutered itself. The Shuggy. We grew up with the internet. There's no novelty to see sex on camera. There were infinite websites for that. That is a legitimate point, and you brought it up. The fact that you can get that stuff. Fair point. Yeah, you can get that stuff elsewhere, and that doesn't necessarily have to be in movies. Bill S. Preston, sex is good. Gordon Gecko. Let's see. Intimacy coordinators is a grift from Darth Yeager, if there ever was one. From Techniques, bitter feminists don't want men to enjoy looking at a beautiful actress in the nude or even close to nude. Look how they even had a meltdown over the video game character in Stellar Blade.
Very true.
Yeah. All right. Bill S. Preston, Esquire. I am just reminded of the South Park movie Gratuitous Violence. Gratuitous. Violence is okay as long as you don't have to say any naughty words or show boobs. All right. There we go. That's yeah, wow, we've hit that 2-hour point, and I want to thank you all for being around. I hope this was an interesting conversation. I know we could talk about boobs all day. Just a couple announcements. Monday, since this is May the 4th weekend, May the 4th be with you. We are talking about Star Wars on Monday with the release of Phantom Menace. We had the trial a couple months ago. This time we're going to kind of do an all-out gladiator style battle, talking about Star Wars. Wednesday, let's see, do we have anything here? Yeah, we got, I'm not sure who we have on Wednesday, but by accident, I was supposed to see The Fall Guy on Monday. By accident, I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes instead. I can give you my review on Wednesday, and then we'll talk about it next Friday, along with the movies. Oh, wow, it only looks like it's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to try to see Not Another Church Movie. Yeah, here we go. I'm looking at the movie list. We'll see how we do next week. Yeah, Dante, you'll maybe back next week.
Yeah, I'll be back, and let's see.
Promote yourself. By the way,
I'll be on Versus Monday to talk about Star Wars. It's going to be a weird day for me because I'm going to be doing a double duty kind of a thing. Because Mondays at 5:00 are going to be the start of my weekly show, which is VRL. It's going to come right after Versus, so you guys will have a lot of film threat that day.
Yeah. All right, and
go
yeah,
ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, so just subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Greatly appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys, man. It's Verbal Riot on YouTube, Rumble, and you can follow me on X as well under the same name. And yeah.
Okay, and then I just want to thank the 1,600 people who watched us on YouTube, on Rumble, and on X. Yes, we are on X now. And let's see, and we have the important comment here. Thanks to our moderator today, Lord Thoth. Thank you, Lord Thoth. You're always here, and it's greatly appreciated. Atomic Lori is in the background helping produce the show.
Yes, thank you, Lori.
Yeah, absolutely. And Glenn Nuccio for all these great videos, and he does a lot of work behind the scenes as well. And to Frank Gore, you are sorely missed. Oh, we can't wait for you.
He'll be back, guys. He'll be back very soon.
All right. So with that, visit filmthreat.com for independent film reviews, and go to our shop.filmthreat.com for the best in Film Threat media merch. And with that, let's get out of here.